Today I'd like to share with you something that will greatly accelerate your Tai Chi journey. I've studied Tai Chi for 35 years, and it took me 15 years of that period to find someone that would show me the inside. Tai Chi is an internal martial art, and most teachers teach forms. There's nothing wrong with doing forms. I've learned a lot of forms. But if I would have done something in addition to that, not instead of, but in addition to that, at the beginning, I would have accelerated much more quickly and moved internally. Tai Chi is like the journey to the center of yourself, to build energy, to build connection. So when you move, all of you is moving together. And that's what you're going for in your forms, but it's very difficult to start from the outside and then get the inside. Why not work on the inside at the same time? So today I'm going to show you a couple of different movement exercises that you can do. Okay, the first movement exercise has to do with getting taller and getting smaller. So it's like I'm opening and closing. That's very common in most Tai Chi movements. And I'm breaking this down into two pieces, or opening, closing, and rotation. So starting with opening and closing, so I want to get taller, so my quad opens, my feet are screwing into the ground, my pelvis is tilting forward a little bit, my chest, this expands, this gets wider, I'm hanging from my head. All these things are happening at the same time. There may be more or less movement in certain parts of me, but they're all moving at the same time. I'm connected together. Tai Chi is about connection and energy and releasing and intention and other things too, but starting with connection and energy. So from a side view, I mean, it's this simple movement. Now, it looks simple, but while you're standing, you have all these muscles you have to engage to stand up. So it's much easier to learn this starting sitting in a chair. So that's what we're going to start with next. Okay, well, while we're sitting, we're going to explore the same extension and flexion. Now, when I'm sitting, I'm going to let my head move more. It's like I'm not hanging from my head here. I want to explore my entire spine moving like this. And this is good for people with back pain, etc. too, because you can think about it, if you have a wire, like a piece of copper wire, and you bend it in the same place a lot, what happens? It breaks. If you can bend it evenly across the entire wire, it'll last forever. So Tai Chi isn't just about Tai Chi, it's about staying younger or feeling younger. It's about being able to move, fluidly and connected wise. So when you're sitting in a chair, to do these movements, you don't want your feet like this, because then you're kind of stuck back here. And you don't want them way back here, because then I've got to use my lower back and a lot of muscles to hold my legs up. So the whole point of sitting in a chair is to release a lot of muscles that you would use in standing. So it's easier to make these movements, easier to explore them, and then you can bring them up to standing. So here I want my ankles right under my knees, so that my bones are holding me up. So my legs are just balancing here. I can move them even a little bit like that. This feels comfortable for me about that far. So I'm just going to tilt my pelvis forward and look upwards. I'm going to tilt my pelvis backwards and look downwards. Notice that my knees go in when I go backwards and they go out when I go forwards. If they stayed here, I can't come forward. If I do that, then there's room for my pelvis to come forward. So this is your quad opening and closing and sitting, right? But not turning yet, just straight forward, up and down. So most people are very stiff and kind of stuck. Their core is a block. You want to be able to release your core, right? So it's like from a side view, I want to be able to do this. So like I'm exhaling, I'm inhaling. I let my jaw relax. So I'm not leaning forward or backward and forward. I'm going down and up around kind of a center line here. Okay, so it's a very simple move, but it's like being able to bring all of you into the move is what Tai Chi is about. Right? This is much easier to do in sitting and then feeling all these connections and then bring that up to standing. It's much faster to get to be able to bring them to standing and use them in your Tai Chi. And you can do this anywhere where you're at a computer, playing video games. Maybe you're just sitting in an office or you're sitting in a waiting line somewhere or any place. You can always do this, sitting down. You can do it standing up too. Okay, that's it. Just make sure you're breathing. Exhale, inhale, expanding. Think of pung. You could think of on. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, the first standing movement was extension and flexion. Yes. Inflating, deflating. That's good for pung and on. But there's also rotation, right? I'm going to spread my legs a little further apart so it's easier to see and explore. So if I turn, I can turn my upper self, right? Or I can turn from my center. So these are your qua. That's the section on yourself where your legs, your upper thighs connect with your pelvis. So they're kind of like creases here. So as I turn this way, this crease gets smaller, it closes. This crease opens. As I come back and they're both about even, then this one opens on this side and closes on this side. Once you can do it, it's pretty simple. And my lower back should be relaxed. My weight is trying to go from hips to knees to feet. So I'm bouncy, I'm floating, I'm connected to the ground. I'm giving my weight to the ground. This is what you want to be able to do. This is very important that your qua is available. So, but for most people, it's difficult to do this and to release here in order to be able to move, to release habitual muscular patterns here in order to move. It's difficult to do it standing. So, just like the last one, we're going to start in a chair. It's much simpler, it's much faster. Then you can bring what you learn in a chair up to standing. It's much quicker. Okay, and the second plane of movement we've talked about it standing was turning, right? So how would you do that in a chair? Well, it's the same thing, right? So I turn to my right, I can just use my top half, or I can bring into play my bottom half. Turning to the left, right? So it's like this leg goes backwards, this leg goes forwards. I'm not flopping my knees around, my feet aren't coming off the ground. I'm still here, but I'm doing that. I'm doing that. This one is typically more difficult for people in standing to be able to release your qua enough to start exploring these movements. But it's like you can see here, it's like as I turn this way, this opens, this closes. If I go this way, this opens, this closes, right? So it's like, and I'm gently pushing and pulling with my feet. Right, so here I'm pushing back this leg to turn. Here I'm pushing back this leg to turn. Right, so I'm connecting with the ground while sitting. This is very important, so then you can bring it up to standing. You don't want to be just like half a person trying to do this stuff without connecting to the ground. Your legs, you need them to take your energy and weight to the ground. Okay, that's it. Pretty simple. It's just that these movements in sitting are much easier to learn, these connections, when sitting than standing. Now you bring it up to standing and you can practice it there and it'll be much faster.